So I want to welcome everyone to our third episode of Trust After Trauma. And we've all experienced some form of trauma because we've all navigated through COVID and all kinds of life challenges that happen at the blink of an eye. And what we're here to share is inspirational stories, encouraging tools, and ways that we can navigate through trauma of any sort, any type that life brings to us. So today I am honored and privileged to bring to you my dear sister friend, Melanie Stout. And has been oh, she's been a part of my heart and my love family for over 15 years. And she's such a woman of faith. She's guided by the love of God in all that she does. I'm going to read a little bit of her bio and what she wants to share with us today. So, she's had a heart for her mission work her entire life, and she'll share a little bit of that today in her stories. She spent the last 20 years as an entrepreneur and now serves others as a realtor. She's a real estate goddess, actually. Her calling is to make a difference, whether through business, ministry, or everyday moments. She's a blessed mother of two and a proud grandmother of three, and she strives to live a life that reflects God's love and purpose. And I am so honored to welcome you today, Melanie, to our beautiful podcast. And oh my goodness, my heart
Yeah.
is so
It's
full
so good.
because I know that every conversation we ever have is so rich and full of God's love and guidance. And so, yay. And today we're going to be talking about self-trust. That's kind of our subtopic. And it's about reclaiming our personal power after going through situations and scenarios that I'm going to be asking you to share some of yours, but sharing some of your strategies that you went through as a powerful woman and an entrepreneur, and the things that have helped you to rebuild your own self-trust and confidence after navigating through, sometimes we call it a defining moment. Sometimes we call it a defining chapter in our lives. So whatever, I would love for you to share with us and just, put your beautiful voice in and share with us um, maybe even a snippet of your defining moment or your defining chapter that really did bring up that that urge in you that said, you know what, I need to self-preserve. I need to take care of myself and my young children, and
Mhm.
what that was for you.
Well, yeah, we'll make that a snippet because there's so much good that came after that, right? So, the process of 20-year marriage that's full of abuse and all of the horrific stories that we could share are not really important at this part. What is important is that defining moment, the moment that I said, that's it. It doesn't matter what the outcome is, what happens next. This can go on no longer. And when I made that moment, it was, yeah, between me and God, and I trusted that He would carry me through. So on my knees, I begged for help to get through it. And from there, that's where my life started to take the turn.
Hmm. And I know that uh, in that defining moment, there was something within you that absolutely defined the word trust.
Right. That was on my knees. That was, the fear that holds us back in so many ways in our lives, whatever your circumstances, the fear that held me back, and it was powerful. It's extremely powerful fear. And when I gave that all to God and just said, help, and said whatever the outcome was, because it wasn't gonna be good from the fear that I had in my mind. I thought it would be the end of my life, honestly. That's what I thought would happen. And it was close to that many times. But at the same time, it didn't matter anymore because whatever happened, I knew that I had to go a different direction. And
Mhm.
so when I was on my knees begging for that help, that's when I said, enough is enough. And made the step, got out of the situation. I had no idea what was going to happen next. I didn't know how I was going to provide. I didn't know how I was going to do any of those things, but I knew I couldn't do this anymore. So it's a
Well,
pretty powerful moment when you get to that place. It's,
yeah. Yes. And being a woman of God and the many, many, many thousands of conversations that we've had and just acknowledging the power of faith, right?
mm-hmm,
Even in Hebrews 1:11, faith is being sure of what you hope for
yep,
and certain of what you cannot see. You
yep,
took a leap of faith
yep,
without knowing what was there, but
yep,
knowing that God was guiding you.
yep.
So, what are some of the things that you could share with us? Um, because I know that even in those beginning moments of, again, the leap of faith.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we could retitle this episode "The Leap of Faith."
Yes.
I know that that's what you did, and I know that's what it took.
Yep.
So, if you can share with us, because this goes along with, again, the self trust. It's
Mm-hmm.
self with a capital S. You're trusting God,
Mm-hmm.
life, and the life of your children. And
Mm-hmm.
so, okay, you know, um, tell me, show me, guide me.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you? And what are some of the things that you could share that could be encouraging and inspiring for women who might be in a place like that
So
right
yeah, I mean, I'm like kind of looking out my eyes because I have it in my drawer and I don't want to look away from the camera or anything right now because we're on a podcast, but I have a little packet of mustard seeds and it's the scripture. Faith of a mustard seed can move mountains, right? And I know these things, but when you're in so much fear and you have those kinds of situations around you, you're kind of paralyzed, right? But when you get that, I don't even know how to explain it. This just like, oh, enough's enough, and you step out and you just say, okay, like I'm going to move this mountain. Me and God, He's going to do the moving. I just need to take the step, right? That leap that you talked about, and I've done that so many times in my life, and I know because you've been around and you know my life, but uh, it's such an empowering feeling that whatever's back here, it kind of it just stays back there. It's like you're leaping, you're in the air, you're going to this other side. And I think one of the most important things obviously is God and having that faith, and that's who we are. But I also was very blessed to have incredible people in my life and look for those people that can lift you up and encourage you, and that can be there for you, because it takes a while to build up that strength and that muscle of trust in yourself, because depending on the situations that you've been in life, for me it was many many years, even though in your mind there's this little powerful thing that says, no, that's not true, no, that's not true, but then there's this forefront of circumstances that, how do I get to the other side of that? So I was blessed to have, and still am, have incredible people in my life that have encouraged me and inspired me and helped me all along the way. So that's the number one thing I think, as far as in reality of how we can move forward together. And I think that's why podcasts like this are so important, because you got to find your tribe and find the people and the things that help build you up.
Right. And so and that was in our last episode was really about community and family. And so if you haven't listened to that one or watched that one, it's a really good one because we went deep into how important that is.
Yes.
And as we know this, like you were saying, there's still those niggling thoughts and ideas that come. And one of our next guests is going to talk about the different aspects of our brain and
Mm,
how it affects our decision making. And
yep.
so we're going to go into a lot of different avenues in this podcast because there's so many
Yeah.
there's so many ways that we can navigate through trauma and
Mhm.
get to that other side. But it, it's not like, oh, I've arrived. It's we're always arriving.
Yep.
Reverend Michael was my spiritual life coach, and he would say, you haven't arrived. You'd never arrive.
No.
Always arriving. So there's always going to be new things. And now you're a grandmother of three, and navigating through, bringing your wisdom, your
Yep.
beautiful wisdom, your beautiful heart to the next generation of your family, from that place of, trusting yourself and trusting that the things that need to be said and the time they need to be said.
Yeah.
You know, again, it's trusting your still small voice that is here to um, uh, inspire the next generation. And tell us a little bit about your journey also into grandmotherhood.
I think that's the most important thing. That's what pushes, at least me and most of us, it's going to be somebody else that pushes us into that willingness to take that leap, right? To just jump. And right now I'm jumping for my grandkids. You're right. It's all about them. And the beauty of where I'm at today is taking all these experiences, right? And being that example of what's possible, right? I always want to share with my family and the people that I love, it's possible. It's possible for you. It happened for me. It can happen for you, right? But I've got to do the work. And so you know how much work we're always working, right? We love growth and we want to continue to grow. I'm growing right now in this new opportunity that I have. And it's really my grandkids that are driving me because all the things that I want to do for them, all the things that I want to show them that, I'm turning 60 years old in a week. And, that's a big deal, but it's never too late to learn new things. Even though you've done great things in the past, there's more. There's always so much more. So, I can tell I get excited when I talk about my grandkids because I want them to continue to see, right? And it's a beautiful thing to have young children around. What if you're a mother and, that's where I was, my kids were young, and how was I going to do it back then to get out of those situations? It was my kids. It was like, it's not how, it's now. I've got to do it to show them. And each thing that I did was hard because change is hard, right? We all have to go through change. But as I went through and kept taking those leaps and kept taking those leaps, they were my why. They were the reason why. And now here I am with grown children having their own children. And it's just like, the wisdom that you've learned from all of those leaps of faith and the wisdom that you're going to get to the other side. It's going to be beautiful. There's going to be new experiences, new people, new opportunities. I get to share all that with them. So I think that's the most exciting thing at this point. There's still life. There's still situations that you have to overcome from the trauma, right? It does follow you. There are things that you have to continue to work on, but luckily I have a friend like Janet daily. I mean, her wisdom and other friends, and just seeking to find more ways to understand why it is I might be doing the things that I'm doing or holding back on certain things from that experience in the past, and working through, forgiveness, working through all of these things that are continued. They don't stop just because you took the leap, right? You take the leap and then you climb up a mountain and then you take another leap and then you climb up a mountain and then you take another leap. And that's life. And it's a wonderful experience. And you start getting, supercharged by each one of those leaps. It's like, oh, that's a big way to jump, but let's do it. Let's go.
That's exactly, the topic today. It's like rebuilding your own self-trust.
Yes.
And there's so much to unpack in what you just shared, and it does take courage to learn new things at any stage in our lives. I mean,
Yeah.
you think about the ages of your grandchildren right now, and and your 14-year-old grandson who's, taking so many leaps and he's watching, you know,
Yep.
they're watching. And even
Yep.
if they don't verbalize it, they're paying such close attention to the examples that are set before us, right? And you and I
Yep.
have had this conversation so many times where, you know, um, Jesus is the great example, right?
Yep.
And he would say, these things I do, and greater things you shall do, right?
Mhm.
Because as we're in this continuous um, evolution of continuous change, we can either participate fully and take the leaps that it takes to go to that growing edge, and then learn new aspects of ourselves. And that's really what we're talking about today: is building the muscles of trust, building the muscles of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth.
Yeah.
And and it is a continuous spiral of moving up into another understanding and another dimension of yourself, again, capital S, right?
Yes.
We all came here with unique gifts and talents, and that was God's gift to us.
Yeah.
And our gift back to God is
Yeah.
using those
Yep.
talents.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there any personal or particular story that you could share that was like a just a heart-wrenching? I mean, I was with you and your family on Easter, and the
Mm.
beautiful experiences that we had, but I would love for you to share, just even again, the example that you've set for your children and your children's children, and maybe a heartfelt story that you might want to share that will also inspire our listeners.
Being an entrepreneur, I'll share this because that's the first thing that came to mind when you were talking about it. When you're in a situation that you don't know how you're going to feed your kids and what's next and are you going to live or not, or all those things when there's serious trauma, right? I stepped into entrepreneurship just because I had to feed my kids. I didn't know anything. I can't say I had any experience in it. I just needed to feed my kids. And so I got into network marketing. And when I got into network marketing, it was like go. It was go time. Okay, I can do this with, borrowed $100 and I can make a living and provide for my kids. That was a very exciting time because I learned about, this is where I really learned about self-development, is through that. Is, the better I got personally, the better, more I could serve others. And so in my second company, I had gone really successful in both companies and quickly, because I always say hire a hungry mom, like hire a single mom that has kids to feed, that we do anything that needs to be done no matter what to make sure that happens, right? So that's kind of always been my motto: hire a single mom that has kids to feed. We'll work hard. And so I worked hard, which was, I love working hard. It feels good when you accomplish something. I left my story in the past because I didn't have time to worry about the story, tell the story over and over and over again. Well, I had to figure out my future, right? And I had to figure it out fast. So I think that was amazing. Network marketing was an amazing experience for me. I'm still in it, but I loved it because of the support, building yourself up, and the opportunity. So I took those opportunities and I made those opportunities work for me and my children. And I think I have two things. My son was young and I was working three jobs, and that's not uncommon for most of us single moms. We're working 20 hours a day, and we were building this thing together. And when you built this thing, one of the rewards was a white Mercedes Benz, right? You got the white Mercedes Benz. I'm driving a Honda Civic that I crawl in on the passenger side because the door doesn't work on the driver's side. So, but it's okay. I'm happy and we're doing it. And my poor son, he got dragged everywhere, but he learned so much because he also heard all of this and he watched his mom grow. And I'll never forget the night that I made the rank, that for the white Mercedes Benz, right? My daughter was taking care of my son. They're 8 years apart. She put him to bed because it was a timeline. I had till 11 o'clock, right? Double phones dialing, doing this thing, doing the do, right? And it was 11 o'clock at night. And I'll never forget when it was like I hit that rank. I made it happen. And I went into Josh's room, and he's about 8 years old. He's on the top bunk and he's laying there, and they're just listening. They were listening. My office was between their two rooms. They were just listening all night. And it was an exciting time. And I looked at Josh and I said, "We did it." And he goes, "We did it." And then he just passed out, and it was so, I'm going to cry because it was so emotional that, we went through these battles together as a family. We still do. We still do. They're 28 and 35, and we're tight, and we go through these things together, and we grow together. And that's the beauty of trusting in yourself. It's like, we're going to do this. We got rallied the team. We've got the family behind us, and we keep doing it. And now I'm in real estate. There was another company, more experiences like that. And then now I'm in real estate. It's the same thing. My son's doing it as well. And it's like, we're going to do this. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, because I've built that trust muscle you always talked about by doing the hard things and believing in myself and having people around me, even when I don't, they do. And that has been irreplaceable in every single step along this journey.
And Melanie, I mean, my heart is overflowing with, just such gratitude for, for your authenticity, your genuine loving heart, and you always include everyone. And you know,
Yeah.
he has been a huge part of your journey, your life, your language, it's how you speak, it's how you live. It's
Yeah.
we are all in this together. And even
Yeah.
at Grace's Place Foundation, and we're partnering with We the World
Yes.
for a reason, because we are all in this together. And
Yes.
when we don't feel our own our most powerful self, we can rely on others around us to help
Yes.
build us up, to help you know, uh, up level us, to remind us of who we are, and
Yeah.
remind us that we're not alone, and remind us that this too shall pass. Right? There's so many different things that we can continue to remember, and we are in this together. And I'm just so grateful to be on this journey and call you my sister,
Yes.
and know that we are doing all that we can to assist the next generations to
Mhm.
create a world free of abuse,
Yes.
for them to know that their self-worth, their self love
Yeah.
is a guiding force, and that they have you, and they have me as an example of how to, there again, break free from something that
Yes.
doesn't feel um godly, that doesn't feel like God's idea for our lives. So as we kind of wrap it up and put this beautiful episode with a beautiful pink bow, uh,
Yay.
are, are there any like last minute tools or tips uh that you could share with our audience that could assist again in the self-trust muscle, the building of confidence in yourself? And you've shared so many beautiful things, but maybe you just want to put last little swerve on the artistic canvas of what we're painting today.
Yes. Absolutely, Janet, because the most important thing is minding your mind. There's nothing more important. And in today's world, it can be a blessing or a curse. We have so much information out there, but fill it with good things. When I talk about the whole Mercedes-Benz story that I shared with you, that story came because all I did was fill myself with self-development little modules that that company had, because it didn't matter what I was selling, how to sell it, any of those things. If I didn't control the way I thought about myself, I couldn't do anything. And I was coming out of abuse. Any woman or man that is in an abusive situation, which is what Grace's Place is all about, it's all about beating down your self-esteem, right? You have to build that up. And we have podcasts like this. Like, we can decide what we're going to put into our mind every single second of every day. And you better believe it's the most important thing that you do. The most important thing. Don't allow, I didn't have TV. I don't watch the news. I didn't do any of that. I still don't. If it's negative, it's not going in. It's only going to be positive things, because I can't go and be out in this world and be a bright light if I'm being dimmed down. So I want to brighten myself up every morning when I wake up. How do I do that? Right? I'm listening to positive things. I'm talking to God. I'm giving my problems to Him and letting Him take care of them. And then I'm just going out and doing His work every day to every person that comes in front of me. But it comes first with what we put in our minds. That's why podcasts like this are so important. And we have so much more we can choose from. So I would say the number one tip that I could give anybody is, no matter how you're feeling, count your blessings, write them down, at least 3 every day. Listen to things that empower you, support you, and encourage you, and get out there and be a light to somebody else. And when doing that, it'll help you light up yourself.
I just thank you. That's just
Mhm.
beautiful. And with you and I always being able to share scripture too.
Yeah.
When you're talking, I'm hearing, it is done unto us as we believe, and how
Yeah.
we mind our mind is how we build the muscles of believing in ourselves.
Yeah.
So how can we stay connected to you? I know you have a brand new career that you are building just as
Yes.
fast as you built your other businesses. And how can we stay connected to you?
Oh my gosh. Well, you can find me on Facebook at Melanie Stout. Just I'm right there. You can email me at Melanie. Oh no, let's do this one. Buy, sell with Mel. That's BUYSELL with Mel, the number 3 at gmail.com. And yeah, just reach out. And if there's something I can do, or you want to talk about an experience you're going through, I can encourage you. I love encouraging. So um, let me know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful for you in our lives. And Melanie is a part of our Grace's Angel team,
Yes.
that's always spreading, more light and love in every area that we're being called to be of
Yeah.
service to, this generation and the next generations and even the generations before. So
Yeah.
um, from our hearts to yours, we are so blessed to be sharing on these platforms. Thank goddess for technology these
Yes.
that we get to share our hearts and our wisdom on so many different platforms to really inspire and empower others to be all that they're here to be. So again, from my loving grateful heart to yours, thank you so much. Have a beautiful and blessed day,
I
and
know.
I'll see you on the next recording.
Sounds good. Bye bye.
Bye for now.